For the first time since launch, Starfield feels like a Bethesda game. And I mean that in the best way possible. The thing where you set off for one quest in Skyrim, and 3 hours later, you're on the other side of the map doing something completely unrelated, that wandering, getting lost in the world energy, Starfield really never had that. Until today. Cruise mode and the exploration overhaul in free lanes have turned this into the space exploration game we were all imagining back in 2022 and 2023 when Bethesda first showed off the game. And if you've been waiting for a reason to start fresh or come back to this game, this is that moment. Roll an explorer build, go into ship and exploration skills, and just go. Explore the galaxy. The game plays completely differently now, and it really feels like that space exploration game that it was meant to be. More on that later, but here are my first impressions after spending several hours with the update. I'm going to be real with you. The first time I hit cruise mode and started ripping through the Narion system, which is the starter system, nothing special about it, I was just smiling. Flying at a high speed from planet to planet, watching them get bigger in the viewport, that is exactly what I pictured in my head when this game was first revealed. It felt right in a way that Starfield space travel never has so far. And the thing is, it's not just a cool visual trick. This fundamentally changes how you interact with the game. Before this update, space travel was just a series of menus. You open the map, pick a planet, confirm, loading screen, you're there. It worked, but there was zero sense of journey. You never really felt the distance between places. Now you do, and that distance is where a lot of the interesting stuff happens now. You're cruising along and suddenly you get an interdiction. Pirates, patrols, ships in distress, some of it you can ignore, but some of it you can't. Your grab drive can go offline and you're handling whatever just showed up. It can keep things unpredictable in a way that Starfield's old travel system simply couldn't. But my favorite part honestly isn't the encounters, it's the downtime. You lock in autopilot onto whatever planet you want to go to, you can get up from your cockpit, and now you're just existing on your ship, talking to your companions, hitting up the workbench, managing your gear. Your ship finally feels like a place that you live instead of just a thing that you sit in between loading screens. And this does so much for the immersion of the game. And since ship customization and flying have always been some of the stronger parts of the game, getting to spend more times actually in your ship is just a straight upgrade to the game overall. One thing I will say regarding cruise mode is that the speed levels can take some getting used to if you're flying manually. You're moving really fast, and if you are not paying attention, you can blow right past your destination. Obviously, it's not a big deal, especially once you adjust, but expect to overshoot a planet or two early on and to account for this. So what caught me off guard about this update was I kind of just expected cruise mode to be the star of the show. I did not expect for on-foot exploration to feel as different as it does. I spent a couple hours just landing on planets and wandering around, which is honestly something I haven't really bothered doing in a while on Starfield. As a day one player with hundreds of hours in this game, I've seen the same abandoned mines and cryo labs more times than I want to admit. That repetition killed the motivation to explore on foot a long time ago. Something changed in this update. In my time exploring, I probably hit 10 or more POIs I have never seen before, and that's with hundreds of hours in this game. Now, I do want to be honest, this is day one, and it's only a limited sample size of a few hours of gameplay. I'm not just going to tell you that the procedural generation is completely fixed based on a few hours. But the variety did feel noticeably better in my opinion, and I didn't run into a single repeated location in my entire session. That used to happen pretty constantly. The standout moment was this. I'm walking across a planet service, and I come across a squad of UC Marines mid-operation. They're talking about a group of robots clustered nearby. Before I can even figure out what's going on, the robots attack and I'm just stuck in the middle of the firefight helping the Marines clear them out. That's a random surface encounter with NPCs running their own mission in the world on a random planet. I've never seen anything like that in Starfield before. And that's the kind of thing that makes you want to keep exploring and keep walking over the next hill and the next mountain to see what else is out there. The Moonjumper, the new vehicle built for rough terrain and verticality, I actually haven't found one yet after a couple hours of exploring, and I promise you, I was looking for one. So it seems to be pretty rare, or at least tied to specific POIs that I happen to not come across. I'll update you guys in a future video when I get my hands on it. Between the better POI variety, new surface encounters, and the enemy modifiers adding some variety to combat, exploring planets went from a chore I did for resources to something I'm really actively choosing to do. That shift matters a lot for this game. And honestly, if you've been thinking about jumping back into this game or trying it for the first time, start a fresh character and build around exploration. Whether that's surveying skills or building a great ship, just go with a full Wanderer playthrough. With cruise mode and the reworked POI content and planetary exploration, an explorer-led playthrough is going to feel like an entirely different game compared to launch. I've got a build exactly that coming soon. Two more things worth showing off in this update. Anchorpoint Station is a brand new hub and it's a proper one. Lots of NPCs, quests, vendors, and it actually feels like a living location with stuff going on. There's a robot named Tiger that's genuinely one of the cooler things in the game, and I wish that we could have him as a crew member or companion. Bethesda, if you're listening. The most interesting thing about Anchorpoint, though, is where it is. It's in the Algorab system, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, which is a level 70 system way out at the bottom right of the star map, far from any of the core systems in the game. And you cannot fast travel there. You have to use cruise mode and fly to the Anchorpoint Station once you're in the system. So right out of the gate, the update is using its own new feature to make you engage with it, which is a really smart game design choice. The ship optimization terminal is a new buildable station for your ship where you can spend X-Tech to upgrade your ship systems directly. Shields, weapons, engines, grav drive, that sort of thing. I haven't gotten my hands on enough X-Tech to really use it yet, so I'll save the deep dive on that system for a future video. But having the ability to upgrade your ship from inside your ship instead of having to track down a ship technician is a nice change. So I do want to be clear. I'm really happy with where this game is right now. Free lanes is a pretty massive step forward for this game, and I don't want anything I say next to take away from that. But if we're talking about what could come next for this game, and Bethesda has indicated they are continuing to think about the future of this game, the dream would be fully seamless transitions. Landing on planets without a loading screen. Jumping between star systems without loading screens. Going from on foot to ship to another system to landing on a new planet all in one unbroken sequence. They proved with cruise mode that they can pull off real-time in-system travel and reduce the amount of loading screens that we have to go through, so the thought of them trying to push that envelope further is exciting. At the same time, I do understand that's probably a pretty enormous technical challenge and might not even be realistic on current hardware. But if we're wishlisting, that's definitely on the top of the list. Another thing I would personally love to see is Outposts getting pushed a little further to Fallout 4's settlement system. I would love to be able to assign crew to actual roles, whether that's vendors, scavengers, guards, and farmers. Give the people at my outpost real jobs instead of having just generic crew members kind of standing around. That would bring a lot of life to the outpost loop. But again, I do want to emphasize what's here right now is really good. Cruise mode makes the galaxy feel connected and like the exploration of the BGS games of old. Exploration on foot feels truly rewarding again. And the great thing is all of this is free, which is pretty absurd given how big this update is. If you dropped off this game at any point, this is the update to come back for. Start fresh, do an explorer-led playthrough, experience this game the way it was meant to be on launch. I've got that explorer build coming soon, so make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Drop your first impressions in the comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking too. I'll see you in the next one.